Hello, my name is Shannon Staley, and I'm a criminal justice student. And I want to talk to you about what criminal justice means and talk to you a little bit about the criminal justice system. To me, criminal justice means um, laws of criminal procedures and activities that deal with enforcing laws of the system. Criminal justice means to me also ideals that include all aspects of civilized life, fundamentals and cultural beliefs, and rights, all incorporated within the system to provide the outcome of principled fairness and moral equity. There are three major parts of the criminal justice system. The first part is the police. Well, not necessarily the first part, but the first part I'm going to discuss is the police, which enforce laws. They protect rights and freedoms of individuals. The police apprehend offenders, investigate crimes, and work with society to reduce and prevent crime. Police maintain public order and provide emergency and related community service and ensures the safety of our communities. The courts is another part, very important part of the criminal justice system. Courts decide criminal cases, they ensure due process, which is just our procedural fairness. That means that we are treated fairly and with equality all throughout the process within the criminal justice system, and we're treated fairly throughout all the processes and activities. Courts decide innocence and guilt. They impose sentences on the guilty. They uphold the law and protects rights and freedoms of anyone facing processing of the criminal justice system. They also provide a check on the exercises of power by other justice system agencies. We also have corrections, which is a part of the criminal justice system. The corrections carry out sentences that are imposed by the courts. They provide safe and humane custody and supervision of offenders. Courts protect communities, and they also, protect communities and also rehabilitate, reform, and reintegrate convicted offenders back into society. So, again, three major parts of the criminal justice system are our police, courts, and corrections. There is one model within, well, one of the models within the criminal justice system. It's called the conflict model. Um, it has a perspective on how the criminal justice system works, and this perspective assumes that the components of the system that we just discussed, they function primarily to serve their own interests. According to this model, justice is more a product of conflict among agencies within the system than it is a result of cooperation among the components of the agencies within the system. The conflict model also says that goals of the individual agencies um, often conflicts or pressures for success, promotion, pay increases, and general accountability fragments the efforts of the system as a whole, which leads to a criminal justice non system. An example of the conflict model and its perspective, stating that the system works to promote its own interest, would be just say like the police. If they want to meet per se their quota of tickets for a month, you know, to create a pay increase, that is a conflict, an example of a conflict. Rather than policing as your normal or regular duty, versus doing the policing to, promote a quota per se for a pay increase. Or if And this is just my example, or if, for example, you know, courts are always backlogged with many cases. In, most courts, that's how it is. They're always backlogged. If, a DA has a high profile case and they skip other cases that have been waiting, to be heard or tried, and jump to this per se high profile case, for that maybe to get a wanted outcome, maybe for a promotion, instead of just working through the daily log of scheduled cases. Those are just some of my examples of conflicts, that would be within the conflict model as a perspective to how the justice system works. The next model is called a consensus model. It has a perspective as well in explaining how the system works. The consensus model assumes that each component of the criminal justice system works together to strive toward a common goal. And it also assumes in this model that the movement of cases and people through the system is smooth due to the cooperation between the components of the system. So for me, an example would be, if you're apprehended of a crime, then, you're arrested, and if need be, you're arrested or taken to jail. If you are allowed to have bail, then you have a bail hearing within a recent amount of time. And then you have your right to a speedy trial. The police work with the courts in ensuring that you're processed quickly. You get to court, you get that bail hearing, you're released from jail, and then, you follow the process through the court. And assuming that you're found innocent, then you have your trial. The trial courts, when you get into court, the trial, the prosecutor or your attorney or the judge or whatever, they work with the police in stating the facts, making them known to you. You have your option to defend yourself, and everything through the whole process, from starting with the police to the courts to corrections or freedom. It's a smooth and speedy transition. That's what the consensus model assumes as its perspective in explaining how the criminal justice system, works. So the consensus model is the desired outcome, of how the system would work if this were a perfect world. That's not always the case, but that is what, we strive for. However, both models do exist within the criminal justice system. So that was just an example of the conflict model and the consensus model. So my name is Shannon again, and it has been my pleasure speaking with you today about the criminal justice system, a little bit about how it works, and what it means to me. Thank you much for your time.